I am working as a project expert at Bursa Metropolitan Municipality Museums Directorship. And I'm sorry, I don't have a profession on silks, but I will try to do my best for you. At the beginning, I want to brief what I'm gonna talk about today. I will have a small touch to where I am coming from. Then I'm gonna mention very slightly about Bursa Metropolitan Municipality Museums. And then I will mention the history of Merino's Textile and Silk Museum. Then talk about Bursa silk heritage and the culture about silk in Bursa. And finally, I will finish my presentation with what kind of activities we are doing and their priceless outcomes. I think most of you know about Turkey, so I won't waste your time to talk about it, but I want to say something about my hometown, Bursa city. Bursa is located on northwest of Turkey, so and it's about 250 kilometers far away from Istanbul, with approximately 3 million population. As a result of Bursa was the first capital of Ottoman Empire, Bursa has lots of historical places and attraction points such as mosques, inns, thermal pools, mountain and ski facilities, etc. One of the attraction points of Bursa is, of course, its museums. And before I mention about museums of Bursa, I wish to show you a short video about Bursa city, which is accepted as UNESCO World Heritage as well. Let me show you the video. Yeah, that's right. Here. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, okay. Yes. As Bursa Metropolitan Municipality Museums Directorship, we are trying to manage and maintain 15 museums which are host about 1 million people in 1 year. You are seeing some of our major museums logos in screen, but I wish to just mention about some of their names. One of them is Energy Museum, Bursa City Museum, Bursa Science and Technology Center, Karagöz Puppet Museum.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, presentation. Duplicate.
All right, okay, don't worry. Okay. So, Karagöz Puppet Museum, Immigration History Museum, Knife Museum, and also Health History Museum, Archaeopark Archaeology Museum. And moreover, we believe that if we come together, we will learn more, and we believe the magic of the networks. So we are the member of International Council of Museums, European Museums Academy, Network of European Museums Organizations, Association of Science Technology Centers, Asia Pacific Network of Science and Technology Centers, European Network Science Centers and Museums. And let's see the short video again about our 15 museums, okay? Thank you again. Duplicar. Yeah. So now I'm gonna talk about history of Merino's Textile and Silk Museum, which is known as Textile and Industry Museum formerly. I think most of you can guess where the Merino world come from. Yes, it's from Spain. It's from Merino sheeps. And all the first Merino sheep comes to Turkey at 1843. Livestock raising studies and using their products at industry have started in 1934, after the Turkish Republic founded. In the year 1938, the founder of Turkish Republic, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, initiated an industrial onset sponsored by the government in an effort to spread industrialization and provide employment. One of these institutions is the Merinos Sümerbank Wool Complex, was founded in 2nd of February 1938. The complex houses sheep wool processing to manufacturing fabrics. The complex was closed down in the year 2000 and transferred to Bursa Metropolitan Municipality with all operating rights. This early Republic era complex was rearranged to become a museum of the period and opened to visitors on 14th of October 2011. The best industrial equipments of the era were refurbished and restored to their original functions within the museum galleries. Thus, they were preserved as a means of capturing the essence of the entrepreneurship efforts of the period. At the beginning, Textile and Silk Museum consists of 4 units. There are demonstrating the steps, the dirty wool entering the process and being turned into wool fabrics. This process is exhibited with all the necessary steps illustrated. Silk Museum has added museum complex after 1 year of inauguration. It opened on 2012. Main function of the museum is to acknowledge the public about the history of silk production of the city. Museum has devoted sections about silk production stories. From the establishment of the cocoons to thread and fabric, these steps are illustrated in visuals and documents. With the exhausting interest of the public, the story of the silk is served to the audiences. With the exception of Mondays, which is museum is closed to visitors, the museum serves the process related with production steps. In our silk museum, we have 1 winding silk filament machine, 1 reel spooling machine, 1 warping mill, and 4 weaving machines. From the first day of museum opening, instead of expanding museum building and instead of focusing on increasing the numbers of objects in our museums, we are more interested in keep alive the silk culture of Bursa City. From now, I wish to give some examples about silk-related heritage in Bursa City. Everyone knows that silk is an important procession resulted in myths about its first conception and revelation. During the regime of the first legendary emperor of China, Huangdi, one of the late concubines, Li Tzu, figured out a way to process silk into fiber. This procedure is recognized as the first practical application of silk production in the history. Located on route the famous Silk Road, Bursa is a major textile producer of the country. Bursa, being the first capital city of Ottoman Empire, never lost its importance as a trade hub. With the Declaration of Istanbul as the new capital city. The geographical advantage of the city allowed it to remain a literal silk warehouse until the 18th century. The silk coming from Iran were exchanged with spice and fur from Europe at the city. According to the Ottoman archives, the city housed 1,000 weaving machines. This is an evidence of the volume of trade goods exchange and the capacity of cities manufacturing good quality silks. About 40 commercial inns are still in service across the city, which serve commercial and various roles. Textile and other industrial firms are located in the city because of its manufacturing background and experience. Yes, Kozahan, or Cocoon Inn, or Silk Market, was built as a foundation by the order of Ottoman Sultan Bayezid II Bayezid in 1491. Once upon a time, it was a place where silkworm cocoons was sold, approximately having lived around Bursa for 1,000 years and called themselves Manav. Turks have made the production of silk cocoons for centuries. That tradition, sericulture, comes from Central Asia. Kozan is still silk trade center of Bursa city. The stores of Silk Bazaar contains high quality and cheap productions such as silk fabrics, silk scarves, shawls, outfit materials, artistic goods, dowry, home textile products, underwear, silver, and other valuable souvenirs. By the way, in 2008, Queen Elizabeth has also chosen the Kozahan to buy some silk souvenirs when she visited to Turkey. Yes, this one is İpek Han. İpek Han means it's silk inn. It was built at the end of 14th century and beginning of 15th one. It is older than Cocoon Inn, and until 1950s, it has used for silk and textile trade. Today, it's also used as trade center, but not specifically in silk. Because of the pebrine, she also mentioned about that disease, during 1850s, silkworm livestock raising is getting worse, and almost all of the manufacturing places were closed in Bursa. After Pasteur has found a cure of pebrine, Kevork Torkomyan, Armenian and Ottoman man who had a chance to get education at Montpellier Silkworm Institute, France, by governmental scholarship in 1880s, had achieved to establish Silk Institute in Bursa in 1888 and started to produce non-pebrine silkworms. During his 35 years in this school, he achieved to graduate 2,023 students and achieved to produce 18 million kilograms silk product. By the way, this building is still using as a high school in Bursa. Yeah, we have tons of silk-related heritage and stories in Bursa. For example, you are seeing a factory that established in 1910, produced silk fabrics. Anyway, I mentioned before, our museum mission is keeping alive the silk culture in the city. So now I will talk about what kind of activities we are doing and their results. We have special activities and demonstration in museum, inside the museum activities. Workshops are aimed at especially school groups, weekend family groups, workshops aimed for women, and various workshops for special audiences. Silk bracelet and cocoon painting workshops are some examples of it. By the way, our museum is still living. Our viewing machines still works for 6 days a week, and it is perfect show for the audiences. About 1.5 months ago, we organized International Silk Laces Festival. During the festival, we hosted hundreds of silk laces from Japan, Bulgaria, and Turkey. In this festival, we have a small symposium, and our esteemed guests have a chance to share their experiences with audiences. During the festival for 4 days, national and international participants had opportunity to sold their handmade products to the visitors. Moreover, vocational high schools had also attended this festival, and the first day of the festival, we organized fashion parade with high school students' designs. For example, you are seeing one of the interesting pieces of the festival. In Anatolia, in Turkey, circumcision is making like a party. And people are preparing these kind of beds for their boys after circumcision for resting. In other cities of Turkey, you can see some decoration with cotton lashes, but especially in villages of Bursa, especially in the mountain side of Bursa, people decorate their boys' circumcision beds with silk laces. By the way, although the symposium, trade fair, and the parade, fashion parade, has finished, visitors of the museum has still chance to see the silk laces exhibition until the end of this month. Yeah, the interest to the silk did not stay confined inside the museum. The machinery were transported to the schools for field trips. In 40 schools, especially in rural areas and which are in disadvantaged groups, and about 23,000 people witnessed this process in the live performance. After showing the process of cocoons, we gave a silkworm kit to the students to observe the life cycle of silkworms and also encourage to cultivate silkworms too. After our museum opened by the support of Bursa Metropolitan Municipality, we made a project to improve silk product manufacturing in villages of Bursa city. With this project, we encouraged some village to silkworm livestock raising or semi-culturing. We supplied free of charge silkworms, some tools and mulberry saplings and of course we guaranteed to buy their cocoons after the successful manufacturing. By the way, we arrange courses and consultancy from the academicians for the villagers. And some villages in this project, some of the villages are also supported to produce silk yarn as well. We supplied machineries them to get silk yarn from own produced cocoons. We also guaranteed to buy their silk yarns as well. In this project, we supported some villages to produce only handmade silk carpets. We supplied them to looms, tools, and silk yarns. We are not guaranteed to buy their carpets, but we are the only seller of their products, and we registered all carpets that they produced, and if we achieve to sell them, we pay them 20% of total. Our second big project is renovating old buildings in city center and make them silk yarn and silk carpet factories. After our museum opened, by the support of Bursa Metropolitan Municipality, we renovate these old buildings to produce silk yarns and paint them. This old place, which has established as a silk yarn factory in 1830s, has a story that an immigrant family from Lyon, France, which are well trained about silk processing, made an official request for open a silk producing factory to the governor of that time. And as a result, the governor's summer mansion is reserved to the family, and the factory had started production within the mansion's backyard. The factory started production with 270 workers at that time. During that time, there was a cable car line between the factory and the storage. The family continued to manage this factory until the 1930s, about 100 years. The facility was closed for a range of reasons, but it was restored by Bursa Metropolitan Municipality in 2014. The facility has an importance that there are 30 employees now, and all of them are Romanis, gypsies. Today, this factory has a production capacity of 400 kilograms raw silk per month with primitive methods. In this factory, we are spinning the cocoons that we bought from the village project as well. Yeah, this ruined area was also one of the silk factory called Umur Bey Silk Factory. Bursa Metropolitan Municipality restored this area, and it became Umur Bey Silk Manufacturing and Design Center. In this building, we are more focusing on design silk carpets and weaving them. All of the people who make designs and carpets are volunteers in this building, in the center. We are supplying looms, tools, and silk yarns for this place, and volunteers weave them. Buying those products is not also guaranteed, again, but we are the only seller of them, and if we achieve to sell them, volunteers will get 20% of the total. Now, let's see my last video about our municipality's two major projects in silk manufacturing. again. So, before I finish my presentation, I wish to thank all of the people who had an assist on this wonderful conference. And on behalf of this project, on behalf of this perfect hosting, I wish to call Dr. Herman to the stage to take our gift, and I also wish to present my director, Mrs. Muhterem Cevik, to the stage to give him a gift from our institution. Is it possible to come there? Okay.
Thank you.
The figure of the gift is Turkish traditional shadow puppet characters, Karagöz and Hacivat. By the way, the fabric of the gift is Turkey. Of the gift is silk, and it's weaved in our museum. So, thank you, Herman. Thank you for everything. You struggle too much for us and for this conference.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, she said that if you had a time to come to Turkey or Istanbul anytime, we are also happy to host you in Bursa as well. Okay. So, I'm sorry that I couldn't bring a museum-viewed and traditional painted table for all of you, but my friend will deal our small gifts, cocoon pins, to all of you. I hope there are enough. There are enough for everyone. By the way, before I shut up myself, I want to point out that Silk Road is still alive, and because I brought some silk from Asia to sell to you, to Europeans, and if you're interested in to buy, is it possible to give it to me? Yeah, I have bring something for you. So, if you're interested in buying silk, totally handmade silk carpets, I am ready to make trade after this session. You can see that I have 4 special designed handmade silk carpets here. Each of them has more than 300,000 knittings inside. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.